We do have modern restroom facilities down this hallway with a modern restroom lock, which is 6134. It's right by the door in case you forget. Give yourself extra time. Don't go with your knees crossed because sometimes it's a little hard to get into the bathroom. Breaking and entering. Annie is our chef this morning. She's been on the whiskey for a couple of hours now, so should be interesting. First thing she did when I offered to make her a cup of tea this morning was only if there's whiskey in it. So I did.
Uh-oh.
And I left the bottle out in case anybody wants to join her by the hot water.
You took her literally.
I took her literally. Of course, she hasn't had a sip yet, but
Annie had 4 events here yesterday.
Six.
Six? I guess I had downstairs too. Oh,
what else do I have to tell you? You're welcome to chat amongst yourselves as we go about, just not too loud. And Nico's on technical. Oh, I'll say that on the air, I guess.
Oh, I didn't circle the last page. When you do the promos or the
What are we supposed to circle?
Nico.
Oh, I've got it.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I just put that on there so that every time we can just go with the flow.
Yeah. Loretta is our audience motivator. So when she claps, she would prefer if you clapped rather than do it herself.
It gets a little weird if I'm just clapping for myself.
Yeah. That was just me being an idiot yesterday, so don't worry about that. Yeah. Talk about these. Okay.
Oh.
Oh, we don't, the camera's not running yet.
Have we got this one running yet? No. All
So
right.
it's this view. This one. Yeah. So that's the view.
Welcome to the Hot Stove Society show on Cairo Radio. We're so excited to be here. It's we're getting ready for Valentine's Day today. You can have a fancy show here with Fran and her daughter
You're
here.
so excited.
I am.
Yeah.
We've got so much going on. I'm Tom Douglas.
I'm Loretta Douglas.
Welcome to our show. Becky's on the producer chair, and Nico is in the technical chair. Thanks for them. Annie's in the kitchen, which is where she belongs. She is the executive director here at the Hot Stove. That's what she does. She's in the kitchen. This beautiful setup that we have. If you've never been here, it's pretty good fun.
Very
And
fun.
It's
very beautiful.
Most people that rent us out as a corporation do kind of hands-on, sometimes a dumpling challenge, sometimes a paella supper. Other people, we offer classes to the public, right? So we have good time.
While I was here yesterday, we had a lady call because she just moved into a new house in Seattle and she has an induction range.
Yes.
And she can't figure out how to use her pans on her induction range. And she was wondering if she could book just a session for herself for one of our chef
Uh-huh.
team to teach her. So
Awesome.
You know, we solve all problems here.
Hopefully he said yes and booked her and then told her you need new pants.
And we have an induction whole segment coming up in a couple weeks.
Oh, good.
Mhm.
All right. We are in the beautiful Hotel Andra in downtown Seattle at 4th and Virginia. Come upstairs, go to Lola, have breakfast, come up. Well, maybe not because you have breakfast here.
It's a lot of breakfast.
Yeah, it's a lot of breakfast. Go to the Dahlia Bakery, have a donut. Go to Lola, have breakfast, come up and have our breakfast. It's a big morning.
Triple breakfast.
Anyway, we're upstairs at the Hotel Andra on the 2nd floor, all the way in the back. Come join us for breakfast during a live recording. You can purchase tickets at hotstovesociety.com. The value is enormous. The 6 people that are here today will attest to that. And you can catch us on YouTube anytime, either live, typically on Thursday mornings, or just stream it anytime you want.
Anytime
Right?
you
Once
want.
it's taped, when do you release it on YouTube? Fridays?
It's right
No,
now.
it's instant. As soon as we're done,
Oh,
it's
this
up
is
there.
YouTube Live. I'm thinking
the podcast comes.
yeah,
Cairo posts them on Friday nights.
Friday nights, and for a weekend roundtable all over Cairo Radio.
Mhm.
Upcoming classes here at the Hot Stove: tacos with Chef Sean McFadden. That's on March 1st. My wife is a taco freak.
Ah,
I go back and forth. It
Okay.
has to be delicious. Just because it's in a bus or a trailer doesn't make it good.
okay.
Which is what you hear sometimes, right? God, have you been to that trailer? I go and it's the same old thing. It's
Yeah.
pork carnitas on a gas griddle. There's nothing. It's not that it's not good. It's just like that.
not
The
special.
trailer isn't what made it
Yeah.
good. So be careful. Dumplings Around the World Part 2, which with Chef Danae McLaughlin is March 8th. I love a good dumpling.
Yep.
Can't get my swallow down. You can check all of our classes out on hotstovesociety.com. For our restaurants, we do have 10 restaurant businesses operating in and around Seattle. This February, Lola is celebrating Lamb Jam. Do you know what
Yeah.
our dish is?
I do. It is a lamb flatbread, and it has a smoked yogurt, fenugreek, and pine nuts. Our very own Chef Brock Johnson is the mastermind behind it. And lamb jam highlights the delicious, sustainable flavors of American lamb, raised by family farmers who support healthy grazing and biodiversity. So,
Pretty sweet.
and is there a competition this summer?
Yes,
a
I
lamb
think
jam?
it's July 25th
Okay.
or something. And
That's the only part I don't like. Let's just cook lamb. Why does it have to be a
I
competition?
don't know. I
Yeah.
think we've won a couple times.
people
so.
people like to
People love a competition.
raise their game.
I've only been on one food show competition. That was Iron Chef.
Wow.
I've never done another one in my whole life.
You won, and you
And
were
when they've
like,
asked
"That's
me to
it."
come do it, I've always said no. It's like I don't cook competitively.
Uh-huh.
It's like eating hot dogs competitively. Why would you do that?
Well, that's very different.
Anyway, and what did you say?
I don't know. I got distracted by hot
I
dog
thought you
eating
said something
contest,
about-
which
I
nothing
thought you
is,
said something about me winning.
nothing is grosser to me than hot dog eating competitions. No, I said you won once, and you were like, "Okay, that's it. Put the feather in my cap, and I'm never doing it again."
Well, you know what's good about that and the Food Network in general is that they replay it. So I did this show 15 years ago. They replayed it 150 times.
There you go.
And it turns out you win every time. And so I'm like 150-0. Who else is like that?
Yeah.
Nobody. We're going to do a bunch of things on our show today. We're going to share some tips for celebrating Valentine's Day, whether you're cooking at home or dining out.
Mhm. You've got some thoughts.
We like both.
Mhm.
We love you at our restaurants, and we love giving you some tips for home. As I mentioned, Fran Bigelow, founder of Fran's Chocolates, and her CEO, Adrina Bigelow, I don't know why they share a last name, join us to share their new collections just in time for Valentine's Day. And Loretta, not unlike yourself, Adrina never saw herself joining Fran's Chocolates, even though her mother was the most famous chocolatier, because she wanted to create her own path.
Yeah, you get sucked
And you,
back
I
in.
heard there was like an echo of that very conversation that we had a dozen times before I paid an extraordinary amount for your college education.
I think that we need like a restaurant kid support group to help us maybe from getting sucked back in, because it's probably pathological.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it makes me giggle. I'm broke and giggled, but it makes me giggle. This is a Valentine's best right here. We're celebrating National Canned Food Month. So one way to make sure you don't have another Valentine's next year is to open a bunch of cans of food on Valentine's Day this year?
There are plenty of good canned food products.
Well, we're going to find out. You said you use them. I can only think of one that I really use. Maybe canned tomatoes,
Yeah.
but
All right. We'll get
I've
there.
got a surprise one that I think everyone would be interested in.
Hmm.
Angel Azcaraga, I'm guessing on that, and Jacob Edelstein, founders and creators of D-Glaze, Loretta's favorite food app, are here to introduce their recipe manager app designed by people who love to cook.
I'm so excited. I've been so looking forward to them
Mhm.
coming because this app has honestly changed the way that I use online recipes and cook and stuff. So
And you cook quite a bit.
I cook almost every night. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I am using the app probably out of maybe 6 nights that I cook, 5 nights that I cook, I probably am using it 3 times.
That's great. I'm
That's
looking.
incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say you've started to cook more and more and more because you have 3 kids. Because
Totally.
you were more delivery and go out when you were just
Yeah.
even
I mean,
with
we
one kid.
loved going out
Yeah.
prior to having kids. And then we had a kid in the middle of COVID. And then we had 2 more. And
It's chaos.
now
in a
we don't go
restaurant.
out anymore. Yeah.
Now you don't go out. Well, it seems like you're at my house quite a bit. I feel
I know you guys are my restaurant out. I texted mom the other day and was like, I heard that you wanted to have us over for dinner.
and you know what I say now? Only if you bring your dog.
to clean
Because
up.
those dang kids,
Yeah.
man, they throw food everywhere.
That's a good idea. Bring
And
the
the
dog.
dog is like an instant vacuum.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's the best part: after she cleans up the floor and the high chair, she licks their legs and arms and cleans them up too.
It's great.
It's great.
Multi-purpose. There's a reason we still have dogs.
Exactly. And of course, we're going to wrap up our show today with food for thought, tasty trivia, brought to you by Rub with Love Spice Rubs, sold in over 5,000 retail outlets around our
Wow.
country. Super excited. Taste of the week, Loretta, you jump in first.
I am going to admit that I have not used our teriyaki sauces in a while.
Uh-huh.
And I was really craving like that kind of classic Seattle-y teriyaki chicken thigh situation the other night. And I had a jar of our ginger pineapple teriyaki sauce in my pantry. And so I
A
like
canned food item.
canned food item. I
In a
marinated
glass jar.
marinated my chicken thighs in it, did them in like a piping hot cast iron to get that really caramelized char. And then I fried some cubes of tofu. And I walked a whole bunch of veggies and I made rice and I threw it all together and it was quite delightful.
Wow.
Do you ever
Oh,
have
what do you know?
leftovers?
Not usually.
No.
We don't eat them, so I try and be pretty
Gotcha.
careful about only making it enough. But 2, for somebody that's 5 feet tall, my Italian au pair can put some food away. So between her and my husband, they usually polish it off. But it was delicious, and it saved me the $90 of my teriyaki takeout that I often get, and it was honestly better. So
Awesome.
So $90 is your teriyaki takeout for a family of 6, basically, with your au pair. What do you suppose it costs you to kind of buy a sauce? And then, although you probably stole it out of our warehouse, but what does it cost you to buy
I
a
don't know what you're
sauce
talking
and
about.
all the ingredients for the same? Are you in that $15 range, $20 range?
probably, I think my pack of chicken thighs was like $10. Box of tofu is what, $6?
Mhm.
3 cups of rice, $2.
Yeah.
And
So you're in
one
that
jar
Less
of
than 30.
sauce. Yeah.
Yes,
And
yeah.
I probably used half a jar of sauce, so I would get another meal out of that.
Yeah.
So
Fun. My taste of the week was I did a tasting yesterday for a group for a party of 600 in May.
How
And
many
so
tasters
you
are
have to
there?
there were 6 tasters there.
Okay.
And so it was a last minute thing. I had to put together a
let's be honest.
Menu.
Was it last minute or did you forget about it?
no, it was last. It's been such a joy having her in the company. Last minute thing because I was trying to get it done before I went on vacation. They planned way far ahead. Anyway, this is in May. I did the tasting last night. I had 2 days notice, 15 items from scratch. out of my kitchen. It's so nice to have a home commercial kitchen
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
with
I
a
mean, there's
commercial
nothing like your
dishwasher.
kitchen.
And you know how everything
And
works.
and a wife who loves to speed
To
through the
prep.
dishes afterwards.
Mm.
No, she didn't prep. She was out having lunch and her toenails done. But
Oh.
I'll just say I did the prep. She peeled a few carrots for me. Point being, I made some food that I haven't made in so long. We have a surprise guest from Louisiana, a singing guest, and I can't give away her
Okay.
name at this point for
Okay.
this big event. It's a fundraiser downtown, one of the theaters. And so I was doing a menu around her origins in
Mhm.
Louisiana, New Orleans, things. I have not cooked like that since
Oh,
I first
so
met
good.
Paul and Emerald down in New Orleans.
Wow.
And so I made blackened snapper. When was
Mm.
the last time you blackened anything? For me, I just don't do it. My rubs aren't blackening rubs.
Right.
They're more
Just
bronzing
seasoning.
rubs,
Yeah,
right? Caramelization rubs. But blackened, and Paul Prudhomme told me that they actually put sandalwood in sawdust in their blackening rub.
Oh, wow.
So it burns when you hit the hot cast iron.
Yeah.
But you don't cook with any sort of oil, right? You just put the spice on the fish and put the fish in a blistering hot cast iron pan. And it was really good.
Great.
I was a little bit surprised
Yeah,
at how
yeah, yeah.
tasty it was. I made a lemon marmalade to go on top, and then I made a
Mm.
little butter with some Sazerac cocktail. Just reduced it down and made a butter out of it. Pretty
That sounds
pretty
amazing.
slick, pretty good.
Sometimes like I have these moments. I don't know if this happens to you when I make something and then I serve it and I'm like, I do know how to cook.
Well, sometimes this happens to me because I feel like I spend most of my life in HR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
And you do. All right, Valentine's Day tips when we come back. You're listening to the Hot Stove Society show on Cairo Radio 97.3 FM.
So what else did you make?
I made a lot of stuff, 15 different things,
Yeah.
5 past apps.
You just, when you go to sleep, you just kind of dream of what you're going to do.
No, I wrote the menu in 10 minutes and then I had to go shopping. Yeah.
Fun.
Did they like it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
And you
Did
already,
they like it? What kind of question is that?
Well,
Do you think I would tell you if they didn't? Nope. We have to start over tomorrow.
no Hawaii for you.
All right, YouTubers, welcome. I forgot to say hi to you guys watching live here today. We have some camera issues in case you're wondering why you can't see your favorite people in the audience. We only have one camera of our 2 working today.
Mhm.
Chef Nico was going to figure that out before tomorrow, right? We got that down before because we're taping again tomorrow because somebody I know is going to the big island of Hawaii.
Hmm.
you?
Maybe,
Are you going to come in with your sunglasses and your sunblock in your pocket again tomorrow?
maybe. Although that day when I did that a month ago, I was on my way to the airport.
Right. Yes.
When I told my daughter I was taking a load to Goodwill,
Mhm.
and I asked her, "Do you have anything you want to pop into my car before I go?" She says, "You need 3 of your cars if you're going to stop at my house." Why? What are you getting rid of? A couch?
So much stuff.
So I'm assuming that you don't want me to come.
Come by. Do
Okay,
it.
all right. Well, I'm not going to rummage through your house. It has to be in a spot.
I'll give you what I can give you. What will fit in your car?
All right. We are back here celebrating some Valentine's ideas. As a matter of fact, we're doing this a week early, I believe, so that you have time to prep for your own Valentine's supper.
Great.
And if you're trying to get a reservation, now is the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't wait till the last minute. Although I will say Valentine's Day is a little bit like New Year's Day in that the reservation book turns over and over and over because people make multiple reservations.
Oh,
And
that's not cool.
Thankfully, sometimes they actually cancel them and don't just not show.
Ah,
Yesterday we had a 20 top.
wow.
A party of 20.
Was that at Neb? Because that has
A party
that
of
beautiful.
20 who made a reservation at 8:00 in the morning did not show at noon that day for lunch.
Oh,
20 top. You set the whole table, you push all your tables together, move the chairs around, bring in an extra waiter, get the kitchen prepared for it, blah, blah, blah. And they had a 20 top that didn't show. That happens a lot.
A lot.
That happens a lot. It's
maybe a little policy change on reservations.
I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, to more happier notes,
Okay,
we're
good.
going to celebrate Valentine's Day tips today. I wrote a little something for our newsletter at, I got to find it now. Oh, I know. It's in my notes.
I have the menu.
Here we go. And I just talk a little bit about, Jackie and I don't necessarily celebrate Valentine's Day in the night
Mm-hmm.
because we're often working in the night.
Right.
And so I had made it a tradition maybe 30 years ago to
Cute.
cook breakfast instead.
Mm-hmm.
And then also you cook on the day that you have free around the
Right,
weekend.
right.
I'm not, you just don't have to do it on Valentine's Day. So you'll find that like this year when Valentine's is on a Friday,
Mm-hmm.
that it's a very difficult reservation. We're already full on Friday.
Right.
Then you add Valentine's on top of it. So think about it as a weekend, spread it out either
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're going to go out on Sunday this year to one of our restaurants.
Mhm.
We're going to Neb. Might be our
Perfect.
most romantic restaurant.
It's very sweet. Are
Yeah.
you back from your trip?
Maybe.
Because I feel like usually
I
the
am
last
back.
few years we've been doing Valentine's Day in Hawaii because it tends to coincide with our
No,
annual
we're back on the 15th.
Hawaii trip. Oh,
So we're having a Neb supper on the 16th.
Nice.
you don't want to have a romantic dinner with me and my 3 children?
I don't.
Okay,
But you know,
Although I love them terribly. No.
great.
Yeah.
Good talk.
So
but you know what's good about that with all your restaurants? You're running specials from the 13th through the 16th. So
Sure,
if the
yeah.
14th is booked, that's a good tip that you taught me.
any restaurants, ours, anybody
Yes,
else's, are generally on when it falls on a weekend like this, it's a Valentine's weekend, not a
Okay.
Valentine's Day.
Okay.
When I was writing for the Seattle Weekly back in 1989,
Mhm.
I was in between jobs, and the Seattle Weekly asked me to write a column. And so I started writing a weekly column, and one of the ones I wrote was about making Valentine's breakfast in bed.
Uh-huh.
And we have those little a tray that works perfectly for that. Jackie, year round, gets a hot, steamy cup of dark
I
roasted
know
coffee
you're so kind.
year round. So that's not special
Uh-huh.
because it is what it is. But she'll also I'll squeeze the blood orange mimosa
Because it's the
because
season.
it's the season and it's got that little red twinge to it. What's the word I want?
Color.
Color.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more acidic than a
Mm.
regular orange. It's not as sweet to me. And so I love making a mimosa out of that. She insists, though, mimosas typically are with Prosecco
Mhm.
because you're adding orange juice to it.
Right.
No.
It's got to be champagne.
This has to be champagne, and it has to be Roederer, and it has to be their brute.
Well,
And
Roederer Brute is your guys' champagne.
I get it. Yeah, I know.
You're romantic.
Yeah.
So
Matter of
Valentine's
fact, I
Day-
have a picture of
Why are you cheaping out on
I
Valentine's
didn't.
Day,
I'm saying
sir?
it has to be. I have a picture of your mom in the hospital with her Roederer Magnum after pushing you out.
Great.
Yeah, of your comfy confines and into the world.
Yeah.
Clean up on aisle 3, thank you. Crispy sourdough waffles with candied first of the season Kent Valley Hot House rhubarb with warm, buttery, not Mrs. or Aunt Jemima's or not Log Cabin, real maple syrup.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to get it. If you haven't had it, try that. There's 2 kinds out there where the maple syrup is aged in oak barrels.
The
Woodinville.
Woodinville whiskey one is
And,
unreal.
We'll get
and-
them on the show.
Whistle Pig also makes
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Delicious. You think, God, it's $25 for a jar of syrup. Well, you don't use all that
Right.
much.
It's special.
So it's $1 or $2 per portion.
Mhm.
And it makes a big difference. It's super fun. Something to talk about. Applewood smoked bacon and an egg plucked from our hen house in Prosser.
Plucked.
Plucked.
You are a good writer.
Plucked.
Pluck.
The
Uh,
drama.
And she likes it on her waffle over medium.
Okay.
With black pepper on top.
So I don't know if I've ever told this story on the radio before, but I was the person who stopped my parents from having more children in our house.
I did not know this.
Yeah. And it all had to do with breakfast in bed. My dad was a traveling salesman, went out Monday morning, came back Friday night. Saturday mornings were sacred. Every 9 months, we had a baby.
Uh-huh.
And then I got old enough, I think I was 7 or 8, and I started making them breakfast in bed because I had Saturday mornings free.
Yeah.
I'd knock on the door and it was locked. And it was like my mom would peek her head out and say, "What can I do for you, son?" And I'd say, "Hey, made you breakfast." And she says, "Oh, great."
Perfect.
And we never had any more children.
Well done.
Yeah. She stopped at 8. So case you wonder how life goes, that's sometimes how life
That's a
goes.
fun story.
Um,
Can we go back to the
Yes,
Kent Valley
we can.
Hot
Your
House
mother
rhubarb?
is rolling in her grave at you telling that story on the radio.
I don't know what to say about that.
So this Kent Valley hothouse rhubarb, I remember when it came out last year, we talked about it. What is it available now? Clearly,
February generally
February,
is when it
okay.
gets started, and it's just done in rhubarb houses, not
Uh-huh.
unlike mushroom houses,
Right.
just where the compost keeps things warm enough, and they mound it up, and it's
and then how do you prepare it?
like any rhubarb. It doesn't have the structure that kind of say
summer
wild
one.
rhubarb or
Okay.
perennial rhubarb has, right? It's not as strong, so it cooks. Literally, you could pour hot vinegar over the top and have a pickled rhubarb. It
Okay.
just cooks so fast, it's almost like a cucumber
Mm-hmm.
in as far as its texture, its water content. And Jackie loves rhubarb. I'm not the biggest fan of rhubarb. If I'm going to have it, I tend to like it for its color,
Right.
like the crimson color. You know why they call it strawberry rhubarb pie?
Because it's a strawberry rhubarb.
Right. It's the
I
color
learned
of
that.
the
I
stem,
paid
not
attention.
strawberries and rhubarb. Remember that.
Okay. I already do.
What are you going to do for Valentine's Day since you already have 3 children?
Well, we will be in Hawaii, and we're not huge Valentine's Day people. I don't know. Usually, if we're in Hawaii, we're normally there with my lovely godmother, Pamela Hinckley, former producer of this
Aw.
show, and she loves a craft.
Uh-huh.
So normally we spend some time making Valentine's cards for everybody,
Cute.
which has become a very cute tradition that I love to do. My oldest kid is getting really into Valentine's Day and wants to like make little things for all of his school friends. And, they do a thing where everybody gets a bag and they drop it in their bag and stuff like that. So I think we'll probably do a little more kid-centered
Cute.
activity. But Ben and I, we're very fortunate. Our first week of our trip to Hawaii, our lovely au pair is coming with us. So I'm hoping that we will be able to sneak out
for a dinner. Yeah.
a dinner, just the two of us while we have her there. So
New sushi spot up in Waimea. I would suggest it. Some of the top searched recipes for Valentine's Day: steak with peppercorn sauce. And typically, if you're going to have that, there's 2 kinds of pepper steak, right? There's the crushed black pepper that's
Right.
kind of embedded into the side, or green peppercorns, which are more of a sauce, and you use them whole. And typically, they're canned. Lobster ravioli and tails. Lobster is just one of those things that I find a little bit overrated.
I love a perfect lobster, I
Yeah.
think, but yeah, I would agree. I think we are spoiled by Dungeness crab also, and
How
Alaskan
about
king
what
crab.
what kind of chicken would you make for Marry Me Chicken?
Marry Me Chicken is a specific recipe. It's
Is
like
it?
It is so searched.
Yeah,
And Marry Me Chicken Soup. And it's a cream.
it's like
and
a cream
sun-dried tomatoes.
sauce. Yeah, tomato cream sauce chicken.
Have you ever
Ugh.
made it?
That sounds gross.
No.
Me neither.
Yeah. I would say no.
The Deglaze guys are in the audience and they're laughing because I'm sure it's like the top thing on their app.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say no. I'm not marrying you. But it turns out nobody's asked me to marry them in a long time. Spaghetti carbonara, that would make me say
That is
yes.
what my husband would ask for
Yeah,
if
that
he
would
was
make me say
asking
yes.
for.
But here's
a
the
Valentine's
deal on
recipe.
that. It has to be the best pancetta or the best smoky bacon that you've ever had.
Yep.
Because it's the driver in that dish for me. And it's plucked from the hen house
Plucked.
eggs.
Plucked.
And of course,
Makes
red
me
wine
feel like
braised
you're
short ribs, which you can't
pulling
really
them,
screw
like-
up. Although I would say you can overcook a pot roast, you can overcook short ribs.
Okay.
And when you know you've done it, it's like mealy in your mouth. It disintegrates in your mouth like a farm salmon does. Just kind of melts.
We'll
and
do
it's
a segment
gross.
on
I
that.
like bite
Okay.
on a braise.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
All right. When we come back, Fran Bigelow is here. She's the founder of Fran's Chocolates, and her CEO, Edrina Bigelow. We're going to find out why their names are the same. They're here in the studio on Cairo Radio. It's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM. Do you guys know Marry Me Chicken? Yes. Did it work? It did? Boy. Tell me why it's good. Tomato and cream sauce, you said, right? Sun-dried tomato. Huh. Huh. And he said yes. And he said
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
What else is in your repertoire that made him
Want to
say
be
yes?
like within an inch of it.
Okay.
There you
What
go.
else
There.
do you own? What dish do you own that made him say yes, other than that? Oh, really? Who arranged that? Ah, nice. So,
Like right there. Okay. I can scoot forward a little.
Okay.
Got it.
normally you're not reading something off like you were, but
Yeah. Okay. Andrina.
Andrina.
Okay.
wipe that smile off your face. This is serious business.
Oh,
Can't help it, can you?
I can't help
That's
it.
another thing you inherited.
Absolutely. Yeah. Can't help it.
Okay, Adrina, pull that mic, or you
closer.
pull your chair up, or pull the mic to you.
Really close.
You have to be right on top of it like that.
Right on top of it.
Okay.
We are back here in the Hot Stove Society show on Cairo Radio, downtown Seattle, beautiful Hotel Andra. Thanks for joining us today. We do 8 segments. You don't, when you podcast our show, you don't have to do it all at once. You can just podcast certain segments.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't miss this one.
No. It's going to be the sweetest one this week.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Fran is here along with your daughter, Andrina. Thank you for
Yes.
joining us. We are so excited. I'm thrilled to have you here, but it makes me sad also. Do you know why?
No.
Because you became the gift for me to my mother for all the big occasions: Christmas, Easter, Mom's Day. She loved your milk chocolate caramels and anything milk chocolate from you. She was not a bittersweet gal. And so now that she's passed, I don't like to eat those things because it makes me fatter than I am. And so I know you're supposed to do it in proportion, but I can't. I buy a box of 6 caramels, I eat 6 caramels. So
Oh.
that's just the way it is. Anyway, so it's a bittersweet to see you because I miss my mom.
Yeah.
And it was such a lovely interaction we had every year about your chocolate.
Mhm. Well, it's one of those memories that you always
Yeah.
have. You always carry with you. I think that's why I opened Fran's Chocolates, because I love chocolate.
Right.
But then when I finally got to Paris and walked in a chocolate salon in Paris, it was like magical. It was but the chocolate was so different. It was so wonderful. And so I think that was the vision that I decided I wanted to create for other people. Make their holidays special, make their gifts special. It's it's a really great feeling.
Isn't that interesting, though, when you first realized that chocolate was so different and that it
Mhm.
could be so different?
It could be.
So many
yes.
people think of chocolate. Well, I love a Hershey bar. They don't realize the depth and the challenges of fine chocolate.
Right. And it's so interesting. I mean, you should taste chocolate. You should figure out what chocolate it is that you like. And from all these countries, the other thing is it's one thing that science has come along and helped us so much. So we're getting more flavor out of the cocoa beans. We have people that know how to really manufacture it, make it into wonderful chocolate. So we're getting nuances of flavor that we never were before. And it's just exciting.
And
It's
that's
really
from the
exciting.
roasting? Is that
Yeah,
from the
it-
harvesting?
Well, it's the fermentation first of
Fermentation.
all. It's how they're harvesting. It's what they're doing with it, with
Where?
the farms, where it comes from. All the terroir. I mean, it's just everything will change. Countries where it comes from. So you'll find your favorite one. You'll find one that's real fruit forward, or cherries, dark cherry, something
Yeah.
like that. And then you'll find some that just make that wonderful chocolate flavor in your mouth. It just kind of just is so perfect and long lasting. It's just it's exciting. It's really like it's still that's why I'm still doing it. I mean,
Right.
it's like almost 43 years now.
Is
so
it really?
it's-
Dang, you're old. I'm glad I
I
haven't
know,
gotten
I
that
know.
old yet. I always think about when a change for me was when people started talking about the snap. There's a
Yes.
snap when you
Yes.
bite through a truffle,
Yes,
or
yes.
and it just got me started down the path of, well, what else could I be looking for, thinking about? And then I invested in Theo chocolate and lost all my money. But I have a side interest in chocolate. Loretta is allergic to chocolate
I am, very unfortunately.
and coffee.
Oh,
Yeah.
And coffee.
And
Yeah.
coffee?
Mhm.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
It's a bummer. My mother-in-law is like a home chocolatier and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And so I always get to see the beautiful things she's putting out. And before I found out I was allergic, the sea salt caramel, dark chocolate caramels you make were my absolute favorite chocolate. And it's a sadness to not have that
no.
anymore.
So, Loretta, I don't know if you can see kitty corner from your microphone. There's
Yes.
a young lady named Andrina, and her last name is Bigelow. And Andrina, tell us about your travels to the family business that is Fran's Chocolates.
Oh, absolutely. I grew up in the business, probably similar to you, Loretta. I was washing dishes, hand wrapping gold bars, worked my way up to the register, got to actually interact with customers. That was a really exciting day for me. And then, when I went off to college, I didn't quite know what my career track would be, but I knew one thing was I was not coming back to work in the family business. I had seen how hard my mom worked, and
your brother did already, right, Dylan?
well, he didn't come. He left also. We both left before we came back.
God, Fran, you must be mean.
And I think we really wanted to just,
Yeah.
pave our own pathway and figure out what our inspiration was. And for him, he actually went to the Culinary Institute. So he did take a path down and went and made chocolate for Scharfenberger chocolate in the Bay Area. So
Really?
he was doing bean to bar chocolate in the late 90s. And really honing his chocolate skills, but outside the family business. And he did come back earlier to work with my mom in production as the director of chocolate, and wonderful chocolatier, incredibly skilled. So we're so lucky to have him creating all these new recipes and taking what the recipes that Fran made forward into the he's really elevating what we're doing. And then I went down the business road. I went and got my MBA, worked in larger companies,
Oh, how convenient.
brand management, finance, operations, thinking I was going to, go down that track. And something, my brother actually called me when I had moved back to Seattle working for a different company here and said, hey, I love what I do in the kitchen. He loves creating recipes, loves working with chocolate, but had no desire to run the business. And at that moment, it just kind of clicked for me, what am I doing? I've got this incredible family business that my mom has created, and I'm super passionate about it. I grew up, eating food with her, traveling.
It feels like
and-
to me, it feels like another sibling. Like I didn't have siblings, but to me, that felt like I had 20 of them, in all of our businesses.
Exactly. It's really part of you. And I just wasn't aware of that until I wasn't working in the business. And you just don't realize how just her love of food and entertaining and the family dinners we had growing up, going out to eat in wonderful restaurants and really understanding food and appreciating food, all that I almost took for granted.
Yeah.
Until I wasn't working in it. And then
I think hospitality really gets its hooks in you. I mean, it's a very unique mix of skill and talent, and it attracts a specific type of person that I think, at least for me, when I was working in a very corporate office environment, those are not the same people that are working in restaurants necessarily. And I felt like I never found my people until I was back in the hospitality business.
Absolutely. And what drives you is a little different.
Yeah.
This kind of drive for quality and the world of chocolate. I mean, it's just incredible. You look back at what better business to be in than, restaurants and chocolate, right? It's brings joy to people, and it's hard work. And that's what I had seen as a kid. It's the hard work and dedication and passion, but then you realize why, how fulfilling it is.
Fran, when I last ran into you at work, I think it was down at your Georgetown facility, and
Mhm.
I think that was a bit of a surprise for many people when you opened that shop down there. I wouldn't call it Seattle's most desirable neighborhood at the time, although it has become very desirable
Mhm.
down there. It's the old
Mhm.
cold storage facility that turned into
Mhm.
lots of this and that. So I was in your shop. It's spectacular, of course, and I was going through your kitchen. And how has that worked out? How has that changed Fran's Chocolates? Because if you walk into the one at the Four Seasons
Mhm.
with your lovely Curtis Steiner there on the wall of your image, and
No,
at least I
it's
think it's your image.
Andrina.
Is that your image, Andrina?
My daughter.
Your daughter?
Yes,
No
her
kidding. Yeah, I
granddaughter,
thought it
yes.
was you as a youngster. But
Mm-mm.
anyway, point being, very high expectations. Your shop in U Village, beautiful, lovely, velvety, kind of
Mhm.
feeling. And then you go to Georgetown. How has that worked out? It was
It's
it was a
wonderful.
chance,
Oh,
right?
oh yes, yeah,
Yeah.
it was. But it's like, and we had so much room. We didn't think we could, really, fill it all up, do
Right.
anything. People were saying, "Well, we're so far apart now. We have to walk so far to get to someone." And now we're filling it up, and you just kind of magically grow into it. But it was a chance for Dylan to get a dream facility, a state of the art production facility. We have, storage and temperature control and all the things that you really need to control chocolate. So it's really been fabulous, and gives us a chance to grow and do things and make things that, we never would have been able to in a smaller facility or
Right.
one that didn't have all the things. It's been wonderful down there.
It's if you haven't been, the facility in Georgetown is really one of
Mhm.
Seattle's finest, and I think partly because of the unexpected nature of it all. Right, to find a Fran's chocolate
Yes.
shop in the middle of this old brick industrial
Right.
building, it's such a beautiful combination.
Well, and then it's what I always wanted to show people was how clean it can be to work with chocolate.
Right.
Sometimes you think it's just, it's just, mounds of chocolate or it's a dirty facility or something like that. And now you can see how careful they are making it. You can see the chocolatiers, you can see the dipping and the things they're doing. So it really reinforces the idea that we really are making a fine product. And
Right.
I think the staff responds to it too. I think you feel that with cooking. You're showing off what your chefs can do and everything like that. And that's what we're trying to do for our staff too.
That's how I learned how to cook, was sitting in open kitchens
Uh-huh.
and at the counter in open kitchens. And to this day, if I have my choice and there's a open kitchen counter seating,
Yes.
it
Yeah.
makes my wife crazy. I choose that
Mhm.
rather than sitting at an intimate table in the dining
Right.
room. I'd
It's
much
so
rather
much fun.
sit at the
Yeah.
kitchen counter and watch what they're
I
doing,
know.
because you never know what you're going to pick up.
No, and you learn. You
Yeah,
learn. You do.
yeah.
You do. It's fun.
One of my favorite ones of all time was watching in Chinatown. I was sitting by the kitchen door and watching him take that live crab and whack it up into chunks, run it in cornstarch, drop it in the deep fryer, and then take it over to the wok. And I never had visualized that transition of that product to understand how it got to be what it ended up being. And that was like, oh my God, that's so simple. So it's super fun to see all that. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about your adventures in Japan and other new products in your line and what people should be buying for Valentine's Day. On Cairo Radio, it's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM. These look shitty.
Okay. You can't-
Like the most perfect
The most
jewels.
perfect.
I know. It's like
Like-
unreal.
Get out of here. You're pissing me off.
She's a perfection.
Okay.
See,
you wanna-
it pays to come to the show, doesn't it?
Do you want to taste now or are you going to taste on?
I'm already like, I don't know which one to do. I know what that tastes like. So I'm going to go, is this pistachio?
That's matcha.
Matcha. So these are all Japanese inspired ones.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Except for the salted caramel, just there for posterity.
There's a snap.
Mhm.
You might not be able to taste after that.
Do you still like to eat it?
Matchas.
Yeah.
I should have started you
I
on the
have-
other one.
All right.
The chocolate. Can you
Can you
might be
just
able
not
to-
do dark chocolate?
I
Can
know,
you
I
do
was
white
thinking
chocolate?
we can have a little bit. The oh, we could give her another.
Is that black sesame?
That one's black sesame. So you might be okay with that because it's white chocolate.
I made black sesame. What are the Korean noodles, rice noodles called? Tteokbokki the other night. God, it looked terrible.
But
It's
delicious.
so good.
It was good, but
Yeah.
it looked so terrible.
Pistachio, yes.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
pistachio.
She thinks she has the best palate in the world.
She
Mhm.
probably does.
You have a
Mhm.
cold and you just licked my chocolate. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Do you want some new chocolate?
Yeah.
I've had these before.
Ah,
Oh.
Ready?
Okay.
got to stay on our clock here. And it's time to move to Japan, sounds like to me. I'm Tom Douglas,
I'm Loretta Douglas.
and we're talking with Fran and Andrina Bigelow to talk some Japanese inspirations and new confections. You've got your Georgetown factory and shop now. You've got a few different shops around our city. Is that
Mhm.
true? How many?
Yeah, 4.
4.
Mhm, mhm.
And so you decided to branch out a bit. How did this all come about?
Well, it was a customer who, well, no, I'm sorry, it was a visitor who came in and was visiting from Japan and took it back a box of our chocolates to Mr. Nakazawa, who was in Japan, and he was the president of the Ball department store, and he fell in love with the chocolates and called us up and wanted to come visit us and see what we could do together.
Uh-huh.
And so he was just so wonderful and so generous, and his crew was wonderful, and they were very excited about the prospect. We both use organic ingredients. It was very important to him to use organic ingredients, which Andrina can fill you in more with his tea farm and the organic tea that we're bringing in from him. But he has a beautiful, beautiful department store, and he recreated the Georgetown retail store inside a boutique in Kyoto. It's
Yeah.
so much fun, and we love going there. And their attention to detail and their craftsmanship and what they value is very similar to ours. And we've
Uh-huh.
learned so much, and just had it's been a fun adventure. It really has.
I went to Kyoto once. I almost didn't get out because I don't fit there. You guys probably fit there, but I literally had to duck and squeeze for every door and every
Yes.
chair. I'd sit down at a table and couldn't get back up.
And
things like
you
that.
Take your shoes off.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
My size 14
sandals,
shoes.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They would just look at my shoes and go, "Oh my God, maybe we could sail to America in these things." So Kyoto is made for people your size.
Okay.
As you know. Tell us about some of the flavors you brought.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So, so it's been a wonderful partnership with the team over there.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things that the Ball also has a organic tea farm in Uji. It's a very small tea farm.
On the mountainside of
On
Fuji?
on Uji,
Uji.
Oh, on Uji.
which is
Okay.
also a mountainous region.
Uh-huh.
It's outside of Kyoto, and it's one of the historic places where the sencha tea in Japan is grown, and the kind of famous matcha coming from Japan is mostly coming from Uji, the really high quality.
Okay.
So they're growing beautiful. I mean, it's these beautiful tea farms, and they're harvesting the sencha and then drying it as a sencha tea, as well as grinding it into a matcha powder. And they also are doing it organically, which is very unusual in Japan for a tea farm.
Huh.
So it's really just, and the president, Mr. Nakazawa, is very into quality, and which is why he loved
Yeah.
our product
Uh-huh.
and is really into kind of, the display, the flavor, the presentation, all the things that we really care about. He does as well. And so we've been able to partner with him on this matcha. So we're now, selling the matcha in our stores, and they wanted us to create a truffle with the matcha. So we created this matcha truffle, really, which is true to what we do with all our confection, is try to highlight the ingredients and really, honor the ingredients. So
Uh-huh.
matcha can be hard to work with sometimes. It's really easy to crush the flavor. So what we wanted was a very bold matcha truffle that wasn't, that brought out that nice umami flavor from matcha,
Uh-huh.
and also didn't bring out the astringency, because sometimes you can, if you don't work with it correctly, you can get some bitterness from it. So really Dylan and our chocolatier worked a long time just to capture that true.
And that's just
matcha
for one
flavor.
truffle.
And that's just one. Yeah, exactly. That is just one truffle.
Yeah.
And then we also have a black sesame truffle that we worked with. That's coming from. There's a family in Osaka, and one of the things we love about Japan is the craftsmen or the technicians. They will work, spend an entire life refining one technique. So this, for 140 years, this family has been roasting black sesame seeds.
Uh-huh.
And that's it.
Unbelievable. So
And
cool.
and they're getting better every year. Every year it's just one, they're just refining and becoming a true expert in that one technique. And so we have a lot of appreciation for that. Something that, my brother Dylan does as well. He takes our truffle recipes, the truffle recipe maybe that Fran created 42 years ago, and has been refining it every year,
Right.
in some small way, just to make it better.
Huh.
So we really love, creating new products, but we also love refining technique and making, the caramel better every year. We're always looking at little ways to source something a little bit better, or change a technique just slightly, just like you do in your restaurants.
Right.
I
Well, I
really
want to go back to
appreciate
that for 1 second with the black sesame, because forever I just thought black sesame was a decorative thing because they just were lame. They just didn't have much flavor. And then I went and I bought a Japanese black sesame down at Chef Shop down on Elliott. And I bought the paste and I bought the sesame seeds. Delicious. I was shocked by that.
Exactly. Right.
And it's not
Completely
white
different.
sesame. It's not it's not relatively in the same flavor profile, but it's delicious in its own right.
Absolutely. Like with all ingredients,
Uh-huh.
if you honor the ingredient, you treat it right, when you're roasting it, you can really bring out flavor, or you can crush flavor,
Yeah.
so
I
we
love in the
yeah.
truffle, like it really has that roasty
Mhm.
flavor that comes through in the truffle, which I think some people might think like, oh, that's not going to be good with chocolate. But like you did, I think with the salt on the caramels, like that sweet, savory interplay just works so well. It's
Yeah.
delicious.
It's great.
And then we have a pistachio truffle. Those ingredients are coming from Sicily, so not a Japanese ingredient, but an ingredient that the Japanese team really loves.
Uh-huh.
So we're working, wanted to work in to this collection that we're selling here, but they're also selling there, of course. It has that, just wonderful Sicilian. Same thing with pistachios. The flavor you can get out of a wonderful pistachio is so different. You can really harness that bright, nutty flavor, and of course mix beautifully with chocolate.
And did you change? I see you have one of your salted caramels on there. Did you change the makeup of that for the Japanese market?
No, that's just there because it's our. We can't ever come anywhere without a salted caramel. It's kind of like if you do, people will ask for it.
Right.
So it's the signature salted caramel that Fran, introduced in 1998.
1998.
I feel
anyone
like you
else.
started salted caramel. Like, and
Fran, do
now
you ever go-
everything has a salted
Uh-huh.
caramel
I know. Do
flavor.
you ever go to the store and see all the salted caramel stuff and just think,
Oh, I can't.
dude, I wish I had a residual on all this stuff.
Should be giving you royalties.
As I mentioned, I sent my mother many, many boxes of Fran's over the years, and your packaging is incredible, and it's seasonal. Right
Yeah.
now, there's lots of pink and hearts and
Mhm.
ribbon, and Easter changes up again, and of course
Right,
Christmas
right.
does too. What are you doing for Valentine's Day this year?
Well, for Valentine's Day, we are doing the new truffles, that we're doing for Japan. We're doing our satin heart box, which is wonderful. We have
That's
it in
incredible.
Yeah, it's just for someone very special. Yeah, it's really
It's so
nice.
beautiful.
And then we will do anything for anyone who wants to come in, and usually they're looking for the special thing that their loved one really likes. So we can do a
Right.
whole box of anything and customize it for you, or do anything like that.
Yeah,
But-
that's what I always
but
did with the
all
milk
the-
chocolate for my mom. Yeah.
yeah, you could just put in just what she loves,
Uh-huh.
and it's just so satisfying. It's so wonderful that everybody knows what their special someone really prefers, and they come back and Yeah, do it every year. A lot of people will bring their Satin Heart boxes back, and we have to refill the same box.
Right.
And so that's,
Oh, I
that's
love that.
always-
That
yeah,
could become
yeah,
like a
uh-huh.
very sweet
Mhm,
tradition.
mhm,
I love that.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah, you just put the year on each that you buy.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of
So
fun.
cute.
Yeah.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
It's definitely not like the Russell Stover box of chocolate. I'll tell you that. I mean, these are stunning and
Yeah.
so beautiful.
And you
And
pay for it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not
totally.
like they're cheap, but you get the value every penny's worth.
Yeah.
And so if it's a value issue, buy a smaller box and get the quality. And then maybe when you can afford it, buy the bigger box. But to me, getting started on the small box, or even just with the salted caramels, or even with the gold bar,
Oh yeah.
is I gave out gold bars 2 years ago for my Halloween candy.
Oh,
So, you know,
that's
Yeah, the kids, they didn't appreciate it.
the adults did though.
I had a whole tray of different things, including gold bars, and the gold bars are like the fourth thing off of there before Mike and Ike's. It's like, what are you guys, stupid? And they were. They're kids. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. Happy
Thank
Valentine's
you.
Day. It's a pleasure to have you. It's a pleasure to see the daughter join the company, as it was for
Let's
me.
get
Yes.
coffee.
Yeah,
I'm sure we have
absolutely.
things to swap.
Oh, oh, do we now? In the second hour, when we come back, we're going to celebrate National Canned Food Month. This must be your doing. Angel Azcaraga is and Jacob Edelstein are here, founders and creators of Deglaze, Loretta's favorite online app, and we play food for thought, tasty trivia, as we do every week on Cairo Radio. It's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM. Thank you, ladies.
Thank
Yeah.
What a
you.
treat
Great.
to have you here. Andy, how was your tea? Do I? Once a week, 25 years. Yeah. Live radio on Cairo. Yeah. This is our 25th anniversary year, the show.
I want to
My buddy, with my buddy, the chef and the chapeau.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll keep you awake, is that what you said? Yeah. She's only used to heroin, so this is going to be a new experience for her.
With 3 kids.
How old are you?
Do these guys want to get out of here? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Long way to come for sure. Oh. Thank you so much. They will so appreciate it. What's her name? Carla.
Carla, are you spying on your family here, friends, whatever it is? If you're watching on YouTube now, we hear you.
And why aren't you here?
Why are you here? Why did you dump this lady?
Oh, thank you for not coming then.
She what? Why did you dump the woman that's watching you on?
Under the weather.
She's sick.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Make me look pretty. I'm just waiting for the live germs to die on the outside of these candies.
But it
Ready for hour number
gives
2,
me
Nico?
Sexy radio voice.
Okay, there you go, Loretta.
YouTubers, thank you for watching.
Picture.
Please hit subscribe
you
or
send it
whatever
to
it
me?
is. What are they supposed to do? Hit subscribe?
Yeah, just
Doesn't
subscribe.
cost you anything. Just helps
No.
us out, I guess.
I don't know how.
Well, why does it help us out?
I don't know.
You don't know.
You've always said that. I think it's cute.
Well, I thought if over 100 subscribers,
No,
you
we
get
get like 800, I think. 700.
No, subscribers, like eventually you
766.
can like monetize a highly subscribed account. And yada,
Oh, can
yada.
you? Yeah.
And if they subscribe, then it comes up like in their feed or whatever. It'll
Yeah.
Uh,
show them that we have a new video.
I'm not a YouTuber except for carpool karaoke.
Oh, that's so funny. I love that. So yeah, that's a cute one. Remember Michelle Obama.
And Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
You bet.
I want to go to the Georgetown shop now. I don't think I've been.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And plus, it's just being combined with the factory.
Yeah, I want
Yeah.
to see them.
Great.
Fran, does
Glad
it
to
make
do
you cringe when I call it a factory? Does it make you cringe? What do you call it? Your production area? Is factory okay? Oh, a facility, not a
facility.
factory.
Fran,
What did you call it, Andrina? Oh, kitchen.
Kitchen, oh.
Yeah. This is the hot stove factory.
Fran is so classy.
Are you leaving?
I
Okay.
think that comes from Willy Wonka, right? Chocolate factory.
Yeah. Because she wants to do be here for your video for the spatchcock.
Oh, cute.
You guys got a little breakfast? You must be starving to death. Yes? Doing okay? All right, good. You want to know what's on your plate? You have a Spanish tortilla, which is kind of an egg and
Thank you,
roasted
Angorama Crafts, for
potato
your comment.
and onion omelet
I'll
type
let
thing.
Fran know now.
You find on a lot of tapas bars in Spain. There is some ruby chard where the stems are cooked separately from the greens. So cook the stems till they're tender and then throw in the greens and give them a quick shake. And then we put our fish taco rub on there, which is a real citrusy, mild chili rub. And then there's some Spanish style chorizo, which is very different than Mexican chorizo. Mexican chorizo being more like a ground beef that you would get in a hamburger. And this is more of a cured pork situation with garlic and a little bit of cumin, and then cased and dried a little bit before it's cooked. So they are, they're good, aren't they? Yeah, tasty little nuggets,
I love them.
just like my grandchildren. Tasty little
Tasty
nuggets.
little nuggets.
Yeah.
Cute.
All good? Welcome back to the Hot Stove Society Show, hour number 2. We're going to celebrate some canned food. We're going to celebrate with the creators of Deglaze, an online app used to manage recipes. How do you use it?
Yeah, to manage
To manage your recipes
cook
and
things.
create a shopping list for you
Yeah.
too. Yeah, Loretta is so into this.
Mhm.
She had to give me a little.
I'm gonna like
primer.
fangirl pretty hard. I
She's
think
going
in
to
this
fangirl on us. Okay.
segment.
We're also going to play Rub with Love Food for Thought tasty trivia with said Deglaze folks apparently, and that
Yes.
scares me a little bit.
A little bit. Well, fair enough.
But whatever. I don't mind being a winner over. I just don't like to embarrass people.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Okay, let's celebrate canned food. I'll start with Heyday Farms. That's my favorite canned product.
I knew you were gonna say this, and it's one of that I always have in my pantry. Also,
It's not Heyday Farms. Heyday Farms is on Bainbridge. It's called
Heyday.
Heyday, and they have 5 or 6 different cans of beans
Yeah,
that are all cooked in some sort of sauce. So most recently, I had the garbanzos in kimchi, I think it was, or were they vodka and lemon?
so there's cannellini beans
Yeah.
in vodka sauce.
Wow.
There's chickpeas with harissa. There's chickpeas with coconut curry.
Uh-huh.
There's pinto beans in enchilada.
Black beans and enchilada.
Black beans in enchilada sauce. There's a couple more, I think,
Yeah.
but those are the 4 that I've.
I use the black beans and enchilada sauce the most.
Yeah, me too.
And I can't say there's many cans of food that I pour it in my pot to heat them up, and I don't doctor.
And don't do anything too.
Yeah,
I know.
I
Yeah.
literally eat them as they are right out of the can.
I've never seen them. They look great. There's a coconut curry chickpeas.
I use those
Isn't
a
there
lot.
Harissa one that, yeah. Anyway, I think that they're super easy. We have this segment that you and I do called Shortcut or Scratch. To me, the shortcut of those canned beans is like 100% of the time. I will do
Yeah.
that every time.
Totally worth it.
Yeah.
If you are making one of my like go-to weeknight really 15-minute meals is the Kevin's, that is like sous vide
Uh-huh.
Kevin's meats. They have a coconut curry one.
Yes.
So I do 1 pack of the Kevin's coconut curry, 1 can of the Heyday coconut curry, chickpeas, a thing of spinach, and I put it over rice, and that's my perfect 15-minute meal.
I-
There's a fancy combo
That sounds
right there.
great.
It's a combo play.
Yay. Sounds
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah, that's a good shortcut.
Huh.
But yeah,
Can we start with a little history of canning?
Sure,
Could
let's do it.
Okay. February marks National Canned Food Month, recognizing the role of canned goods in food preservation, accessibility, and convenience. It highlights how canned foods support food banks, reduces waste, and simplifies home cooking. Loretta loves that part. Before canning, food preservation relied on drying, salting, sugaring, and smoking. In 1809, a French inventor developed a heat-sealed glass container after Napoleon Bonaparte offered a contest for a better way to feed his troops. A year later, a British merchant patented tin cans, making food storage more durable. By the 1820s, canned foods were a key part of the Royal Navy's provisions, launching a preservation revolution. By the late 19th century, brands like Campbell's, Heinz, and Borden made canned good household staples. Innovators like Alexander Kerr and the Ball brothers improved home canning with wide-mouth jars and patented lids. Today, canned food still matters because they remain affordable, long-lasting, and vital for households, food banks, and militaries.
And sometimes culturally appropriate. That's
Yeah,
the kind
okay.
of the thing I find interesting.
Okay,
Like
what do you
duck
mean?
confit, right? We don't need to confit duck anymore and duck
Right.
fat and pack it and
Right.
clay jars and cover the top with fat. We don't need to do that
Right.
anymore, but it's become a flavor profile that we
Mhm.
love,
Mhm.
texture that we love.
Mhm.
And I would say one of your favorites canned foods is Spam because you love masubi, right?
yes.
We don't need Spam anymore. It was created for the military. It was proliferated
Yeah,
through
we've
Southeast-
developed beyond probably
Right.
Mhm.
But
the need for Spam.
Right.
But it's delicious.
but it is what it is. People have become accustomed to the flavor profile.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So what other staples are in your canned food pantry? And that could be jarred too, of course.
I always have canned tomatoes, and I
Mhm.
think you do too, Dad. And
Yeah.
I
I
love
used the
those.
Bianco brand.
Yeah, exactly. The Bianco brand ones I think are the best that you can buy. We should do a tasting. Have we done a
Okay.
tasting pan?
We
No,
had, but
have not.
years ago. Yeah.
We should do that. I always have chickpeas. I use chickpeas in a lot of stuff. So canned chickpeas. I'm not a dry bean person. They're very intimidating to me.
Mm.
So like if I'm gonna have beans, they're pretty much always canned beans. What else? Spam, tuna in olive oil. Good tuna packed in olive oil. I always have
Coconut milk?
coconut milk always.
I
And-
made you something canned that I grew up with that I hadn't made in 45, maybe
boy.
50 years. You remember what it was?
No.
Chip beef on
Oh, chip beef on
SOS.
SOS.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's delicious. It was my old roommate's favorite meal, and I used to make it for her on her birthday every
Oh, that's hilarious.
I have not made a dried chip beef in forever.
Right?
My dad used to make it was one of his very few things that he would make.
Mhm.
He would make that and floppy bacon.
Ugh.
He liked warm bacon. Like he
Ugh.
would never take it past the warm stage.
Mhm.
So
And
gross.
it made the rest of us want to vomit. But
Mhm.
turns out some people like my wife like it overly crispy.
Mhm.
So I want somewhere in between, like 3/4 of the way to Jackie's favorite.
I'm Team Jackie.
Your team overly crispy?
Yeah.
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 But you don't think we always kept the jars for juice glasses for the family? Yeah. Same with pimento cheese, the Kraft pimento cheese in the jars that became juice glasses in our house. When my mom passed, we went and found all the stuff that my dad got at gas stations throughout his driving career. The entire collection of NFL football glasses
Right.
from Exxon,
Right?
things like that.
I remember that.
Yeah, exactly. So canned foods have other goodness about
They
them.
do.
What about Loretta? I thought you were going to head right into dessert like Nutella. You always loved Nutella.
Yeah, do we consider that a canned product?
Well,
guess
okay,
so.
What's it
yeah.
preserved? I
Preserved.
think reading the history, I think
Yeah.
for sure.
Nutella, jam. I mean, I love toast with jam or biscuits. with
Have you ever
jam,
made
so-
a Nutella?
Made it?
Mm-hmm.
No.
It takes effort, but it's really good.
Is it
You
really
see,
good?
it's the emulsification that takes that.
Yeah, that's what takes. You have to roast the hazelnuts, take off the shells. I did it with my niece because she eats a lot of Nutella, and it's not that great for you in those quantities
No.
with the palm oil and all that. So we made it on our own, and she loved it. She was so proud. But it's a fun thing to
Yeah.
make.
You know, I've traveled through Torino where all the
Oh, where it was-
hazelnut trees are and where they, Ferrero Rocher, the factory is. And apparently they use 80% of the world's hazelnuts
Right there.
right there
Wow.
for Nutella.
And theirs is has a little less sugar than than the American version
Uh-huh. But the whole valley
The-
And
Just-
comes in
the whole
glass
valley
jars, and
smells
the
like it.
American
instead of plastic.
and plastic jars.
yeah,
and
comes in
everything,
plastic jars. Yeah.
Okay, so other canned. So when I was looking at what's the most popular canned items, it was started with beans, which we talked about, tomatoes, all types, sauces and pastes, vegetables. I want to talk about that. Are there any well, if you can them yourself, that's different.
Uh-huh.
But would you buy any canned vegetables?
Corn only for me.
Even corn, you do it. Yeah.
I'll do corn.
Okay. For
Yeah.
maybe a
The only one I can remember doing is cream corn in a
Jiffy mix.
Jiffy
and-
mix. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll drain a can of corn and stir it into like Jiffy Mix for cornbread or something like
Okay,
that.
that makes
Well, the
sense.
cool kids, you know what the cool kids do? They
What?
get corn during the season,
Oh,
and when
like
they have
this
the
cool
charcoal
kid?
grill going,
Uh-huh.
they char the corn, take it off the cob, IQF it,
Mhm.
which means,
Individually quick freeze on a cookie sheet.
and then they put it in containers in their freezer so that when they do make,
I can't get past that. You just called
Cornbread.
yourself a cool kid.
I'm a cool kid. That's what cool kids do, and now they have smoky charred corn to go in
Yum.
their cornbread.
And does that cool
Just
kid
saying.
just saying, do you take all those corn cobs and make a stock out of them?
I would, except my wife doesn't like the smoke.
Okay,
She says,
that makes sense.
yeah, I'm more of a smoke head than she is. In my whiskey also.
Okay, then the other one, which I think we'll all agree, fruit, unless it's home canned. Would you ever buy canned peaches, canned pears?
No, but my grandma used to make amazing canned peaches at the farm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's
From our
different,
peach
right?
tree.
That's
Yeah, those were like
a way to preserve your beauty.
so delicious. But-
My mother used to buy canned peaches.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But they were the spiced peaches she would
Oh.
put around her turkey along with the canned pickled beets.
Oh, that's
The
why you
worst
don't like
part of-
beets. Yeah.
The worst part of Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. And it's also when I got busted because I used to feed him to the dog under the table and he came out with purple lips. And things went downhill from there. Yeah.
What about canned soups or stocks?
I generally make my own soup and lard
Right.
my freezer with it. So if I make a batch of soup, I make enough to make 4 or 5 or 6 pints of the same soup,
Hmm.
and each pint is enough for one person. So,
Right.
yeah.
That's really smart. What about you, Loretta?
Yeah,
Would you
I
ever
tend
do
to do fresh or frozen
Me too.
soups, and then I do a boxed stock normally,
Mhm.
which is like preserved in its
Yeah,
own way, right?
exactly.
So, but I don't make stock like you do, so I use that plenty.
Here's what I'll say about canned food, though, as somebody who's been on the board of Food Lifeline for
Yes.
30 plus years, as don't go on Mailman Day when they're collecting canned foods and give them cans that are out of date of any sort.
Ever. Because
Whether
they
it's a
can't use
week
them.
out of date or
Yeah.
whether it's 2 years out of date, don't do it because it gets all the way down. The mailman collects it, it gets all the way to the food bank, it gets sorted, and it goes right in the dumpster.
Yeah.
And they have to pay to throw it away.
Yeah.
So if it's out of date, it's just legally not usable for them.
Mhm.
Don't make them throw it away for you. It costs money, and that's exactly what we're trying not to do
Right.
for the food bank. So just be aware when you're donating. Thank you. It's
Mhm.
awesome.
Mhm.
Go buy some,
Yeah.
but just check your dates on it.
That's great advice.
And I would say at the same time, if you're at home and you're using that, go ahead and try it if it's out of date,
Right.
because it's just the best buy date,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah, I
But
mean
don't-
the
don't
American
donate it.
standards for expiration and Best Buy are completely different than like any other country.
Yeah.
So most of the stuff, especially canned, is fine.
I used a mole sauce the other Don Juan mole sauce the other night. It was 5 years out of date.
And
It was perfectly
edible for the dog?
Well, it was perfectly fine. I'll say it wasn't bad,
Mhm.
but
spoiled. It
hadn't
wasn't spoiled.
But I would guess if I'm not mistaken, that I'd feel that way about a fresh one of those.
Okay, that's
moles
fair.
too. Yeah,
That's fair.
I don't think it changed a whole lot. Okay, what are we doing next?
We've got the founders of the Deglaze app, Angel and Jacob. They're here.
All right, let's
Loretta's
do this on
excited.
Cairo Radio. It's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
An
inch away. Okay, like that. Hey, Tom. Nice to see you.
Excellent.
How were your blueberry muffins?
Good.
Oh,
Perfect.
so good.
Annie made
thank
those
you.
herself this morning.
They were amazing.
You know, we are a cooking school, and one of the lessons learned on blueberry muffins is that, you know, you're always trying to get your prep done so that you're ready to go first thing, every meal service, blah, blah, blah. And so we were trying to get our prep done on the blueberry muffins the night before, get the batter made, come in the morning, just pop them in, blah, blah, blah. Way, way better made this morning than they are the night before. Okay. I thought we had one. What happened? Takes her a while to get out of bed. Very nice. Right up, come on. Stop fangirling. Get over here. You know, your appearance on this show is going to double your sales.
Hi, Loretta. So good to see you in person.
See you later. Okay, I'm going to go take a break because Loretta's going to run this operation.
Nope.
No, Tom.
Because you have questions.
Yeah.
You're gonna do a live demo, Tom.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, you're gonna run us through and show us how to use it.
I'm going to of your app. I was going to say after the show, I'm doing a live demo. She's never made a spatchcock chicken,
Oh, I
I
heard
was
this on the last
told.
show. Yeah.
and it's like I felt like a bad human, a
Yeah.
bad father that she had never done that. So
Yeah.
we're going to do that after the show for a video today.
Oh, that's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. I listened to that episode. Yep.
How do you guys know Christina?
Through Malia, my fiance, back there.
Okay. 'Cause
Yes.
that's how I found out about it.
That's
was
what I assumed.
through
That's so great.
Christina.
She's one of
Yeah.
our best users. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Found out about what?
Deglaze.
Through my friend Christina.
You have friends?
She's Ben's friend, let's be honest.
So say you have children. You can't have friends too.
I have two.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great. She's one of the first 10 users. She
Really?
was
Yeah,
early.
she's one of
Yeah.
the first hunters.
Yeah, she was posting about it, so I downloaded it.
And you said she's your fiance?
No, she's friends with my fiance, who's right back here.
Oh,
Malia.
friends with your fiance.
Yes. They're all lawyers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christina and my husband worked at Corcoran, her last law firm
okay.
together.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Lawyers love deglaze.
Apparently.
Ready, set? You want to bring this in or you want me to?
Do it.
Here we are. We're back in the Hot Stove Kitchen Studios in downtown Seattle. Beautiful Hotel Andra. I've been our host here for over 10 years now. Before that, we were all over the place. And
Remember
originally,
the COVID years of sitting at two ends of
I
the
do remember.
table at the warehouse?
We're coming up on 5 years
I know, it's
since
crazy.
COVID. March 16th is when we had to close everything. Angel Azcaraga, pretty good. And Jacob Edelstein are here. They're founders and creators of Deglaze, which is an app for the home kitchen,
Yes.
I would say. I've never tried it myself personally, but you have been spouting
Well,
about
that's because
this.
every time I use an online recipe, you look at me and you say, you know, I wrote a cookbook.
You know, here's the thing. I wrote 4 cookbooks. And when you walk around the kitchen with your phone glued to your face, I know you're not looking at my library copy of the cookbook.
I'm not looking at your library copy, but with this app, I could be looking at your recipe. So,
Well, let's find out about that.
well, thank you guys for coming. And one of you is coming from London,
That's me.
which
Yep.
is crazy.
Yep. I'm happy.
We're probably not worth that. Just
No,
so
definitely.
you know.
Definitely. I travel across the world to talk about deglaze, and I have many fond memories at Tom Douglas restaurants over the years. Definitely spent a lot of money there, so I'm happy to come back.
Love that. That's
This
what
is
put her
great.
through law school.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
It's also Angel's birthday today. by the way.
Oh, happy birthday.
Nice. So Deglaze is a recipe manager app designed for people that love to cook, like Loretta, by two passionate home cooks. So you weren't in the restaurant business at all before you did this?
No, and we co-own a restaurant in Seattle, but we do not operate the restaurant.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, we are just passionate home cooks. We love food. We love to cook.
Fun. Okay, Loretta, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Even though these guys are sitting right in front of us and they're
Great.
very important, apparently, because you love them. Look at the little grin on her face. Tell us why this app is important to you and how you use it in your kitchen.
Okay. Well, the biggest thing for me, I think, was the ability to aggregate from different sites. And I was kind of constantly flipping between like my New York Times cooking app, my Bon Appetit app, whatever random Google recipe I found
Tom Douglas app.
that day. Yes. When you come out with an app, we can talk. And I never thought about how nice it would be to have like a central place to keep all of that. And then I downloaded it and it changed the way that I kind of cook in the kitchen, and I'm looking for recipes and it saves me lots of time. I love the kind of almost Instagrammy, like social aspect about it, that I can see what some of my friends are cooking, what recipes they're loving. You can chat with other people about how this worked for you. I feel like I know you guys because we've been interacting on the app for the last few weeks. I know what you're cooking for dinner. And yeah, it's just intuitive. I think it feels like one of the more intuitive apps that I've used, especially for cooking. Like the features are just easy. I love not having to read 7 paragraphs of some food blogger's life story if I don't want to, when I'm just trying to get to the recipe.
That's called the X-ray, right?
Yeah. And you can just toggle over and it kind of like just distills down to the recipe. And then, you know, I'm often cooking for more people than what like base recipes are written for. And so I also really like the serving, the multiplication factor, and how it just kind of like
So it
does
creates a
everything
grocery list for you for 1 or for 6, depending on what you choose.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And the grocery list thing is something I didn't think I would use, because I usually just keep a note in my phone all week of like what we're running out of and stuff like that. But it's awesome. And you can, if you're cooking multiple recipes in a week, you can just add them all to your grocery list, and then it divides it all out by grocery aisle, which is lovely. It's great.
Wow. Okay. What do you guys think?
Did I do it
that's a
justice?
pic-
That was incredible. I mean, yes, I think, Loretta just described exactly what the vision and mission for it is. Yes, we do let you get your recipes all in one place, but that's just the starting point. What we're really trying to do is help you cook more and help you love the process of doing so by removing all of the chore involved with going from idea to getting food on the table. Because we don't think about these things every day, but if you want to make something, you have a job, you're doing a bunch of stuff. If you don't create a grocery list, if you don't kind of plan like what that is, if it's in a cookbook and it's in your house and you're at work and you don't have it, people tend to fall back into their old habits and either just kind of cook the same 3 things over and over again, or worse, you run out of time and then you end up getting takeout more than you want to, which is expensive, which is unhealthy. And so we thought, how can we remove all of that chore? How can we help you? How can we make it easy to try a new recipe 2, even 3 times a week without feeling overwhelmed, and actually put you in a virtuous cycle of, hey, I'm cooking more and I'm loving it. The family's enjoying it. I think that's a very important part of living a fulfilled, busy life. And so that's I think what you described is exactly, makes me so happy to hear because when it starts working, it's very hard to imagine going back and not having it.
Yeah.
And so, that's actually how we started. I mean, Jacob and I built this for ourselves because when, during COVID, we were all suddenly forced to cook every day. And it amplified these chores, these burdens, right, of planning, and during COVID, sometimes you had to plan 5 meals at a time. And trying to get a grocery list together out of all of that and actually ending up with the right ingredients was crazy. And so, that's kind of where it was birthed. We started using it ourselves. We shared it with a few friends, and we started to hear, you can't turn this off because now we need this.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where things started.
Yeah, specifically, I was living on Whidbey Island, about half an hour from a grocery store, and
Yeah.
so half an hour from the grocery store, and it was just a lot of time to get to the grocery store. And so, yeah, like Angel said, this is how we started for ourselves, and then it just took off from there. One note I want to make is we do support cookbooks. This is one of the features we're most proud of. It's using AI and some really cool AI. So you take a photo of any cookbook recipe, up to 3 photos per recipe, and it will parse it. It'll get it into a recipe form in the phone, almost 99% accuracy, if not higher. With one tap, you just get it in your groceries, and you can then cook it in the kitchen. And so you really can get everything in one place now. Social media, blogs, any online recipe, and cookbooks.
Interesting.
Well, Dad, one of the things I know I want you to ask this question, because I think people are interested, is you asked me, like, well, what about how are they taking my recipe and putting it online? Like, isn't that stopping somebody from buying my book? But if you take your own photo of your own cookbook and put it in there, that doesn't become immediately available to all of the app users,
That's
right?
exactly right. And I think that's a really good point, and something that to my understanding, like we are the only ones. There's other apps out there trying to provide similar services, but to my knowledge, we're the only ones that actually have from day one designed intellectual property protection into the app. And so the idea here for a cookbook is, I think it's better for people and for authors if cookbooks and the recipes inside of them, which we believe to be some of the best recipes in the world, but probably the most undercooked recipes in the world, because they end up in a bookshelf, not with you when you're at the grocery store or when you're coming home from work. And so how could we bridge that gap? And so if you have that cookbook, you can take a photo of the recipe, and by taking a photo of the cookbook, you've proven you own the cookbook.
Mm-hmm.
And then we read and upload all of that for you, but no one else can see it. So it's really just for your own personal
You
use.
can create your own library,
Exactly.
essentially. And
Your own shopping list. Yeah.
for me, like, I love cookbooks and I collect them, and my shelf is overflowing, but I tend to get them, sit down, read them cover to cover, and then kind of like put them back on my shelf. And I don't always remember to go back to what I've bookmarked. So for me, it's like, as I'm doing that kind of first read through, if I can just take the pictures and add it, then when I'm thinking a month later, what am I going to make? I have that there in a way that I might not have before.
Yeah, I've loved to see some of my, there's one recipe here, I'll call it out here. And Jacob, I've been making one of the recipes from Tom's Big Dinners for a long time. Like, it's the 5-spice roast chicken. I love that kind of sweet, salty, roasty kind of flavor in there. But that, that's a recipe that if you don't have the ingredients on hand, you're not going to memorize it and be at the store and be like, oh, right, here's all the stuff that I need.
Yeah.
But having it in my pocket when I show up at the grocery store, tapping a button, having the grocery list, now that becomes part of the rotation.
Right.
And my wife also sees the shopping list, because you can connect your household and then you have a shared grocery list and recipe list. And so when I add that recipe at the store coming home from work, she gets notified that that's what we're eating for dinner. And it just makes these little things seem trivial, but it completely changes the way you think about.
Yeah, it takes some of the angst out of, like, what are we going to have?
Exactly.
And, all that. And who's going to decide? You decide. I don't know. What do you want to do? That kind of stuff. So super cool. We're going to come back and talk a little bit more about this after the break. We are in the Hot Stove Kitchens here in downtown Seattle. Cairo Radio 97.3 FM.
So I have a quick question from our YouTube folks, and I love this question. It's the first question I asked both of you. When is this going to be available for Android? Okay, wait, this is for Sleepy Okami.
Sometime this year. That's what we're aiming for.
Whatever. I'm thinking like a month.
Yeah. Yes, you were very welcome.
Got
a year.
Yeah. We're going to Palace Kitchen tonight for my birthday.
That's awesome.
That's like a throat. That's my old favorite stomping
I
ground.
know.
Yeah, it's a magic place. Yeah.
Fantastic.
What?
Annuals. That's fancy stuff. You guys have a lot of cool. When you
It's fun in here.
focus the
Yeah.
eye. You're
Yeah, it's a
like,
really nice space. Never been here before.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you ever want to do an event, let me know. We'll be happy to host. And
Cool.
Be awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
where do we want to start, Loretta? What was the last thing you made off the app? I'd like to go through and like just start to finish with you about how you use the app.
Okay.
Bye, ladies.
And then I want you to ask your questions too, because I think like a lot of people will have the same
Which
questions.
ones? I've already asked them, so now they're
Well, you wanted to know how it's free
right.
and what the plan is around it being free.
Okay.
Is that okay? What was the other one? I thought you had one more question. All right, that's fine.
It'll come to me.
Okay.
We're back here in the kitchen on Cairo Radio. Everyone looks very happy. They've had a Spanish tapas style breakfast. They've had Fran's chocolates, like 3 of them, right? Yeah, it's not always this way. In case you come back, don't have these expectations. Blueberry muffin, hot coffee, hot tea. Man, what a day. Exhilarating conversation. We're talking with Angel Azcaraga and Jacob Edelstein. Do people always struggle with that?
Oh my
Do people
goodness.
in London struggle with that? You guys live in separate parts of the world.
Yeah, we do. The last name definitely. When I go to Spain, no one struggles. But otherwise, it's just a part of living life. Yeah.
You are the founders and creators of Deglaze, an app that Loretta has been fascinated with since she found it. How did you find out about this? How do these
I
things
found
happen?
it through a friend
Yeah.
that posted about it on her Instagram, and I think turns out is friends of yours. And I don't typically like do that. I'm not a huge app user, I guess I would say. So something she said about it made me go like, okay, I want to check it out. And then literally from like the first time I used it, I was like, all right, I'm in.
The last app I used, I ate. It was a corn hush puppy
Oh
last
my God,
night
you're
that I just.
so ridiculous.
It was delicious, by the way.
I was so dumb. I'm sorry, you guys.
This is great.
I love it.
So go through for me again, because I know before the show I had asked you, give us a typical recipe that you love on this that you kind of go back to. Because what I found interesting about this particular app was the downloading of the photograph. So it's visually stimulating. Then you put how many people you're cooking for, and it'll help create the shopping list. One of the things I loved about your shopping list, you can go through the shopping list and just check off things you already have in your house.
Yeah, so like it adds all those pantry staples, but if you have those, you just unselect them and then they're not on your grocery list.
Right.
kind of thing.
And then when your mother is making something from a cookbook, invariably, and I love her dearly, I am running to the store because she forgot to check that she had all the ingredients. And so I was going to question about whether or not you can keep a pantry list on this app that you already own. And does it, would it
like a what's in your
intuitively
pantry.
may or may not take that honor off your grocery list? Oh, no, dude, you already got a can of tomatoes. It's blah, blah, blah.
I don't know. Can you?
We don't, and that's something we debated early on. But what we don't want to do is introduce a new type of chore. The reason
Right.
we've avoided it is in order for it to be accurate, you have to be doing inventory all
You
the
got to
time.
punch in, right?
Yeah. So it sounds like a cool idea, but do you want to be updating your
Inventory
inventory every
in
day?
your
Right.
yeah.
So cool.
Interesting. Okay.
How is it free? When I looked at this, it's like it looks like it's a very expensive app. Maybe it's not, but how is it free?
Yeah, so we started this again as a side project, and
Yeah.
we wanted to make sure that we actually built a product people loved. And we think we have that data now, and it will not always be free. There will be subscription coming. It will be reasonably priced. We really want this available to everybody. We think everybody should be able to cook as much as they want to and spend as little time as they possibly can cooking what they want to. And any recipes you add now will always be available to you. So get in there now while you can for free. And yeah, we like I said, it will be low price. That's our goal, at least.
You know, one of the things we're a cooking school here at the Hot Stove, and one of the things that I find most interesting, and it happens even in our own world of chefs, is like I made a pecan pie last night. I'm not a baker. I'm a cook. And so you don't have the confidence that you might have if I was making a steak or a roast duck or something like that. And so we're always kind of building to that confidence. And you also might think that as a restaurateur that I don't want people cooking at home, right? I want them coming out to restaurants. But I find good home cooks are better restaurant customers. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I find because their intensity level, their expectations are high. They know what they know, and that it makes us better restaurateurs.
I completely agree with that. And I
Yeah.
think I fit into that boat. I absolutely love restaurants. And I think that when you get your hands dirty and you make some of these things, you really, your level of appreciation into what goes into creating a great dish and doing that at scale is very different than the average person. And
Right.
so, you know, I think you can be a fan of both. Realistically, you also can't really go out to eat every day and make that sustainable for your wallet, you know, et cetera. So I think you're right. And I'm one of those people. I love restaurants.
Right. And you're a good home cook, I bet, too.
Yeah. I mean, I cook a lot, probably an amount that most people would find crazy, but I enjoy it. And I cook usually, my wife and I typically do 3 or 4 new recipes a week that we've never made before. Yeah.
Inspired by your app, no doubt. Yeah.
Inspired by how easy it is now. I've always wanted to do that because I love, there's so much good content out there. And there's so many things to discover, but you know, you also have to, you can't just be in your kitchen not making money all day, right?
Right. You guys have seen them all. All the recipes have come through. I imagine they've gone past your eyeballs. Your favorites. Because if you go to allrecipe.com, right, which is kind of like the grandfather of some of these apps, you'll see this is the most popular recipe in the country. And invariably, it's mac and cheese, something that I would never make, right?
Totally.
You know, or I don't make, I should say. What have you found that is driving people to cook in their own kitchens?
This is a good one. I mean, there's
Is it Marry Me Chicken?
Marry Me Chicken. we giggled there because that's definitely got some virality to it. And I think I sit somewhere in between Tom and the mass population.
And Tom said what?
Like you're like, hey, that sounds gross.
I'm saying no.
But you know, it's okay. Like
Yeah.
it's
And
fun.
one of our audience members actually did it.
Yeah. And I think there's many variations of it, but it is crazy. Like I think it's definitely so like I don't know why it's so popular. But,
TikTok.
yeah,
It's a great
TikTok.
name too.
It's a good name.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, do we see every recipe at this point? No, I think we have over 1 million recipes that have come
Really?
through.
Wow.
And they come in at high volumes. So you know, we'll see things from time to time because one of the things we do as well, if people ever report an issue with the import, we're right on top of that. Like you could do it right from the app. And so people are actually helping us improve. And it creates a nice cycle that makes the app better for everybody. But in terms of personal favorites, I mean, I'm very seasonal. So I think that answer would be different in the summer than in the winter. And I like to make new things so often that I would say it's kind of du jour. I would say my favorite recipe recently was from a cookbook. We made this cheesy rice with okra. I believe it was from Ottolenghi Comfort. And that, yeah, it's definitely a weekend recipe. Not making that on the
All of
you
his
know.
recipes.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna block out your Sunday for
Yeah.
it. But yeah,
Even
really-
making his hummus takes a weekend.
exactly. That would be that's one personal memorable one recently.
Yeah, and I've been there's a recipe developer named Nora Singley who has a Substack newsletter named Noodle. She used to be a developer for Martha Stewart, and she doesn't have a ton of recipes on there, but everything I've made from her has been just amazing.
It's a good call.
And one of them, I'm going to mispronounce this, Jug, the hot sauce.
Jug.
Yeah, very herby, very spicy sauce,
ZHOUG.
and a nice roast chicken thigh, and it's just so good.
The
Yeah,
bomb.
so good. Yep.
We had Sarah Dickerman on yesterday. She is a Substack person, and she's a great recipe developer. I'll be curious to look for her on your site.
I think that's like my favorite feature though, is like if you are reading a Substack or you have a food blog that you love to follow, I mean, if this is only on iPhone, I think, but on my iPhone, like you just there's a button that says like send to, and you choose the app and you click it and it sends it to the app, and then you go to the app and you open it and the whole thing is right there, which is so for me, like I have maybe 4 or 5 food blogs that I'm reading regularly, but I don't want to try and remember all the time, like which one did I see that recipe for this thing at, or, stuff like that.
Yeah, my
So-
first thought when you showed it to me was it's kind of like the Pinterest of food. You pin your app, and you said, but it's so much deeper than that, right? It does so much more than that.
Yeah, it's just more functional, I
Yeah.
think, than it's not just like, oh, come back to this recipe that then directs you back out to that site that you're, then kind of sorting through. I like that, like, you can get used to the format, right? So, like, where to look for everything rather than like 5 different food blogs with 5 different recipe formats or things like that they're telling you.
Yeah, I
Do you want me on your sales team? Because I'm in.
Absolutely. Granted. Yeah, and Loretta, I don't know if you've used this, but this kind of segues nice into something I think probably one of my favorite features and how I find my new recipes kind of on a weekly basis is so these Substacks and these small authors that, that are kind of becoming known, they have a smaller but very passionate following because their content's incredible. We've first classed them in the app. And so we have a search functionality within the app where we curated those sources so that instead of all recipes, which is kind of, I would say, more of an average palette of the entire country,
Right.
you've got these smaller boutique, niche, really talented up and coming creators that people may not know broadly by name, but this is content that is surefire, really great stuff. It's going to expand your palette. And so you can search on Deglaze for chicken, and you're only going to get results from 100,000 of the best curated list of content sites with some big publishers like Bon Appetit, but again, still different than All Recipes, all the way down to Nora Singley's. And you can follow them so that when they publish new content anywhere, you'll get that in your feed, and it says, hey, Nora just published a new recipe, and that might be where you're cooking this week. And so we're trying to create a space where people like Loretta and me that have curated our own kind of sources can find more and live in a world of high quality boutique recipes instead of just kind of average palettes.
And once you follow somebody on the app, when you go search, the next time we prioritize their recipes. So if you like Bon Appetit, New York Times, or these authors, whoever they might be, when you go search for chicken, you will see their recipes first, rather than going to Google
you can
and
kind
seeing.
of like align your palate or your taste with
Exactly
what you like. Cool.
I tend to follow people that come on our show, like Melissa Clark. I'm a big Melissa Clark
Melissa
fan.
Clark's
She's
great.
very, very popular.
Her recipes are dynamic, and she's been on the show half dozen times, and she is dynamic. And that whole picture of things helps me. I like knowing the person.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, you guys are going to stay and play some trivia with us, I understand.
Ooh, how's this going to work? What are the
From a
rules?
couple of Microsofties, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, I don't feel like we're on a fair playing field here today.
Microsofties and foodies. We
And
might be in
foodies,
trouble.
Yeah.
I've been training for this.
So, yeah, exactly. Loretta, are you feeling confident today?
Yeah. I'm never confident when there's 2 people in one chair against just me on my own in my chair.
Well,
We'll
I
see.
might sneak you a couple answers, or Becky has a way. With
Becky, give me a wink when I'm on the right path, okay?
Yeah, okay, Becky has a way. When we come back, more of the Hot Stove Society radio show right here on Cairo, our 25th anniversary year, 97.3 FM.
All right, you guys are going to have to
We get together.
get together on one mic.
Just when you answer, just answer to the mic.
Okay. And is it like two against 2 or?
No.
No, Becky will
Well,
tell
we
you the
could do
rules.
that. We could
Okay.
do 15 questions and do 2 against 2. Beck, you want to do that? You want to do that? Or do you want to do our traditional?
I think it's written.
Okay. All right.
Well, we can mix it up.
Oh yeah, we need to.
Make a
You
decision.
just
I know.
said,
We're
and
gonna
then you
keep it-
said no.
We're going to keep it as is.
We're going to keep it as is.
Okay.
This is
Did I
like-
do this right? Everything good here?
Yeah, so you can converse, but then make sure you answer right
Let's
in
not
there.
answer at
Yeah.
the same time.
I told her not to wait too long. There she's in.
Yeah, she's so good.
I want to know. Yeah, I want to know who it is too.
You want to do what?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay.
Laura.
Is the spirit of Ottolenghi ever going to die? This guy is dynamic.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
All of his like offshoots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
So,
thing. Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like my whole.
How often do you eat at Nopi?
That's probably like once or twice a year.
Once or twice a year?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Have you met him?
I've never met him in person. No, that's on the
It's a
to-do
good-
list.
good goal.
It's a
Yeah.
good goal. Yeah. Definitely cooked more of his recipes than a
Yeah.
lot of people. So
Simple.
Simple but intense.
No, I meant the book Simple.
Oh,
that's
Simple,
the
yes.
closest one is
Yeah, Simple.
Jerusalem's Little Heart. Yeah, Simple's the closest one that works.
Do you have
for me.
something you want to say? You're looking like, are you anxious?
No.
You need a shot of whiskey? Okay. That's up to you. Annie's already had one, so she's in good spirits. Literally.
That's a weekend winner.
How long did it take you to realize there was one in your tea? First sip? Okay.
That's why you asked to make me a tea as well. You were going to trick me.
No, I wasn't. She had asked for whiskey.
Okay.
She just didn't realize I had.
I'm not against it. I just
Bottle over there. I was very intrigued. Yeah, it was tempted.
Okay, Becky, bring us home.
all right, but you got to read the promo.
All right. Welcome back. Hot Stove Society time. Valentine's Day will be even more delicious when you rub with love as part of your menu. Oh my goodness. You can find our products in local grocery stores like Met Market, Town and Country, Hagen Stores, QFC, and don't forget your local butcher and seafood shops like B&E Meats, Wild Salmon Seafood Market, or Don and Joe's Meats, amongst many others across the country and online.
Thank you, Carol, for making Tom blush.
A little side note to that, we have been asked to change our name by somebody who worked in our Rub with Love store because people were calling prank calls to them. So I stood firm, so to speak. Becky, how do we play this game and who's going to win?
Well, today we've got some fun contestants. Are the masterminds behind Deglaze, Angel and Jacob, and they're going to be contestant number 2 against single people.
And what's the game?
The game is Rub with Love. We're going to get tasty trivia challenge, and each of you get 5 questions, and the winner will pick out someone in the audience to take a stroll through the gift shop and pick up a 3-pack of spice blends.
They have to pay for it, but they get to pick it up.
No, not true. Okay,
We
we're
charge
gonna
them double.
We're going to start with Loretta, so you gentlemen can see how it goes. Okay, Loretta, number 1. Tamarind paste is produced from the tamarind trees that thrive in tropical climates and has been used in cooking for centuries, from India to Mexico. Which part of the tree does the tamarind come from?
The root?
It comes from the pod.
The
Oh,
pod.
Pod.
Nice try.
Seed pod.
Seed pod.
Number 2, true or false? The distinctive flavor of black garlic comes from being roasted at high temperatures. Is that true or false?
False.
It's false. It's fermented. Tom, you want to describe how it's made?
I don't. I've never made it. I've used it, but I've never made it.
It's created through a fermentation process that involves low heat and high humidity over several weeks, resulting in a sweet, tangy flavor.
So basically, it's rotten.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's black. It's pretty. Number 3, what are 2 common ingredients typically prepared on papillote? What would you do on papillote?
Fish.
Yes.
What else are you preparing on papillote?
What do you usually put in that little cute little packet?
Oh, like little cherry tomatoes.
Sure, any vegetable. It
Little-
poaches
yeah,
them
some
perfectly.
zucchini.
Good job. Number 3, what are 2 common ingredients typically? Oh, I just asked you that. Sean, can you help me out with this one and get rid of
He gave
that?
you a thumbs up.
Okay, thanks.
Or he
Nico.
gave you a thumbs down. I'm not
Okay.
sure how you want to take it.
All right. Number 4, seitan is a plant-based protein that has a chewy meat-like texture, making it a popular meat substitute in vegetarian and vegan cooking. What is seitan made from?
The devil.
I don't know. Is another soybean product?
Nope, it's actually made from wheat gluten.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so they wash the wheat flour and remove the starch, leaving behind a high protein gluten structure.
No, if you go back into Lancaster, Pennsylvania, any of that Amish country, there's
Yeah.
a lot of cans of wheat gluten.
Oh, okay. That's
Scallops, they kind of call
scallops.
them.
Okay, so
Oh.
that's seitan.
Remember your grandma used to
Oh
love
yeah, I have
those.
a can. I have her last can in my pantry
Oh,
still.
do
I
ya?
can't cook
Hasn't
it
blown
because
up
it's
yet.
just
Yeah.
like
Hasn't
for
blown up.
posterity.
Final question. What cooking technique involves adding liquid to a hot pan, to lift off and dissolve the tasty brown bits known as fond. And they're stuck to the
Deglazing.
bottom. You got it.
Oh, my
Nice
goodness.
work.
Oh
See,
my
that's why I didn't
goodness.
want to mess up the
I can't even believe you could say that with a straight face.
Loretta's 4 out of 5. Good job. All right, Angel and Jacob.
I'm
Number
3 out of 5.
1.
But
Loretta's-
thank you.
She just wants you to win.
Oh, you didn't get Satan. 3 out of 5. Good job, Loretta. Okay. Number 1. What is the name of the hearty French dish made with white beans, sausage, and duck confit?
Cassoulet,
You
one of my
got it.
favorites.
Is it one of your favorites? God, I've
Me too. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're doing a segment on
too
that next
sticky
week.
for me.
Oh, I love that.
Well, we're
You love that part of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many variations. Okay, number 2. What cocktail is famously associated with Grand Marnier as an upgrade?
Margarita.
A Cadillac Margarita. You got it.
Right on. 2 for 2. I don't like these guys.
I'll stump them with this one.
Okay.
Okay. What unexpected ingredient is traditionally used to clarify consomme? Okay, remember, 3 out of 3 thus far. Which country
You know,
is
my favorite part about that, you looked a little disappointed.
I
Usually
thought she
you're-
was going to get him.
I know.
well, they're really smart.
Yeah.
I know.
Turns out.
Number 4. Which country is credited with creating moussaka?
Greece.
Greece. It's a dish featuring eggplant, minced meat, and bechamel sauce. Good job. Final question, true or false? Tasso ham is a type of cured ham and originates from Spain.
False.
Where does it originate from?
Italy.
Well, you still get it because it's actually a spicy smoked pork specialty from Cajun cuisine in
Yeah, I was gonna
Louisiana.
say
Creole.
Louisiana.
Oh,
You got it.
Creole
Yeah.
country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you still got it because
Half point.
okay. Oh, they're so gracious.
It's sickening. They're smart, gracious, they're rich, you know, lives in London. Yeah. They're sickening.
That's wonderful.
Never invited back.
Okay. Until next time. Till they have.
And my daughter loves them more than she loves
I
me.
know. Until
Aw.
it works for Android, you're not coming back. Okay. Okay, Tom. What is the name of the cold brew that's infused with nitrogen gas? This infusion creates a creamy, frothy texture similar to a stout beer. The nitrogen bubbles are smaller than carbon dioxide bubbles, which gives it a smooth and velvety mouthfeel.
Well, I always think of that as Guinness. Are you looking for a coffee version of that?
Mhm.
Well, tough. It's Guinness.
Nitro coffee.
Oh, same. It's Guinness. What is the
Okay.
name of a cold brew?
Cold
Mhm.
brew coffee. Yeah.
She didn't say coffee.
Okay, I put one, number 2. If your grandson's Australian friend comes to your home and asks for an ice block or an icy pole, what might he be asking for?
An ice block or an icy pole?
Uh-huh.
What is it? Ah, a popsicle.
A
according to Loretta.
popsicle.
I'm not going to take credit for that, but
Would you
I should have thought about that.
yeah. I could have said in the summer, but
I had one of my grandson's popsicles from our freezer the other day. It's quite delicious.
Yeah.
It was organic something.
Yeah. Those like Johnny Pop brands.
Yeah.
They're really good.
did you ever make them?
No.
I think Jackie would for your
Popsicles? I
Yeah.
make them all the
What do
time.
you do?
Whenever we make smoothies, I freeze the leftover smoothie into
Oh,
popsicles.
that's brilliant.
And
I love it.
then I feel better about him having a popsicle.
You don't
every
do
day.
what my mother-in-law did, which was take leftover salad and puree
Oh,
it for
geez.
the morning
Well,
for the morning breakfast.
That's
like her green,
Didn't like
her
waste.
green
Yeah.
smoothie. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's disgusting.
okay. Number 3. What early 20th century cocktail became popular due to the prohibition, as its sweetness of honey masked the harshness of bathtub gin?
Whiskey sour.
Gin.
Oh, gin, you said.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't wait.
It's a slang term that means the greatest.
A Tom Collins,
no.
a martini, a knees bees,
These knees.
The bee's knees.
the bees knees.
Okay. Number 4. What is the primary ingredient in garum, an ancient Roman condiment prized for its umami flavor?
Primary ingredient in garum is absolutely shiitake mushrooms.
Fermented fish and
Okay,
salt. Number 5.
fish love mushrooms.
This is going great.
Okay, let's see if we can get one. The thickener xanthan gum is derived from seaweed,
That would be agar agar. That would be derived from seaweed.
right? That's true.
A
But
gelling agent.
is xanthan gum derived from seaweed?
I thought it was a band. I thought they played with open
My
for.
God, just answer the
they opened for-
question.
I thought they opened for Metallica. Xanthan gum.
True or false?
False.
It's false. It's produced by bacterial fermentation, not from seaweed. Okay, we don't need a tiebreaker.
That one
got-
was pretty clear.
Angel and Jacob are the winners. So you pick out
Congratulations.
someone in the
Please,
audience after the show.
pick out someone from the audience. If you miss any episode of our Hot Stove Society show, you can listen to us on Cairo Radio or go to your favorite podcast app. The show is produced by Becky Gusak. Our technical wizard today is Nico Caballero. And our talented editor at Cairo is Sean. Please don't call me Del Torre.
Thank you for listening.
And this is our Valentine's show, right?
Yes.
Let's go back and say,
And also,
You
you might
didn't
want to say
do
if you
that.
missed the episode.
Top line.
I did.
No, you did
If you
not.
if you missed any episode of our Hot Stuff Society.
No, he did that.
He
Oh, you did?
that. I
Say
just
if
didn't
you
do the
wanna
very
be
top
part of
line.
the show.
Sean, you can pop this in if you would.
Oh,
If you want to be part of our show, you can join the community on YouTube Live at Tom Douglas & Co. Or don't be a cheapskate. Buy a ticket and see us in the studio like these fine folks at hotstovesociety.com.
Thank you for listening and happy Valentine's Day.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yay.
All right, team, quiet on the set. Back in the kitchen, too, please. Hi, I'm Chef Tom Douglas.
And I'm Loretta Douglas.
Today on the Hot Stove Society show, we share tips for celebrating Valentine's Day, whether dining out or cooking at home. Fran Bigelow, the amazing founder of Fran's Chocolates, and her daughter are here to join us and share their new collections for their Japanese market.
Mhm.
They have a store in Kyoto, and nobody cares when I'm doing my promos, turns out. Fran Bigelow, founder of Fran's Chocolates, is here with her daughter, Andrina. Fran Bigelow, founder of Fran's Chocolates, is here with her daughter, Andrina Bigelow. They're going to share their new chocolate collections for Valentine's Day. And the founders and creators of D-Glaze app, Angel and Jacob, introduced their recipe manager app designed for people who love to cook, like Loretta Douglas. All right.
Okay, great.
There you go. Wow. Hopefully, Sean, you can patch that all together for a nice promo.
Put it all together.
No effort.
Careful. It's got sharp elbows. She has sharp elbows.
I know you have like a staff photographer.
Well, they probably saw I did a lot.
Anything about you, Taylor? You don't need to know.
You know, it's nice to think of.
Thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you. Have a great dinner tonight.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I will. Well, let me know. Like, I'd love to.
I texted me one day and said, I'm obsessed with
You know, on it.
How long are you in town for?
I wouldn't know because I
Okay.
have an Android.
What took you to London? Okay.
That's why. Our bread has been buttered for Microsoft, so I can't.
Okay.
I mean, I could, but it just wouldn't be.
You can get Outlook on an iPhone
Yeah.
and Exchange. I do it myself.
Did you have something to do with Champagne Tiger? Am I crazy? You did. Okay. And Dan the Weather. Okay. I was like, I feel like I read this or knew this from somewhere. And okay.
Yeah, I made.
Okay. Awesome. Cool.